hardly ever post pictures like this on Weekly 50. This blog is not a place for portraits. It's not a place for showing pictures of my kids or my family or anything like that. But the reason I'm putting this one up is because yes, it is a portrait, obviously, but there's a lot more going on here and a lot more planning. And I just want to take a little bit and talk about this for anyone who happens to be a portrait style shooter. This is not my child. It's my nephew, and I got permission to use this photo. And what you're looking at here is the result of a lot of planning, and there's a lot of work that goes into this particular photo. Now, first of all, the planning this photo itself, I was contacted by my sister-in-law, this young man's mom, and asked if I could take senior photos for him. He's a senior in high school this year. And we were up at the lake at Milford Lake in Kansas with the family, and I said, sure, I'd love to. So I brought my photo gear, like my 70-200 f2.8 lens and my full frame camera and some other things. And before I took his photo, I was looking around, I think it was the night before, for some good locations to take his photo. So I didn't just start wandering around the resort hoping that a good photo opportunity came about. I was specifically looking for a good photo opportunity well before we took this shot. And there were a lot of other shots we took. We went all over the resort at some places that I looked at beforehand. And what I really liked about this particular location is the background. You can see all those little balls of light. I wanted to take a picture that you can't get just using portrait mode on iPhone. So I wanted him to be able to show his friends this picture and know that there was something special about it that you just can't get with a selfie camera or a mobile phone camera. As I was wandering around the resort with my niece, we came across this grove of trees, and the sun was poking through the trees. So the sun's actually behind this young man here, and it's kind of behind and overhead. And when the sun comes through the trees like that, it creates these tiny little, thousands of little spots of light. And so I wanted to use that for this senior photo the next day. I also really liked that his shoulder on the left-hand side of the photo has a little bit of backlighting going on, and it really makes him stand out from the background. So you have the cool lighting in the background. I shot this at 200 millimeters f2.8 to get the background nice and blurry and really make those balls of light in the back really pop out at you like that. And I also made sure to get the position of this guy himself such that his face had a nice even lighting to it. Now the right hand side of his face is a little more lit, but his eyes have a nice sparkle to them. And I made sure to focus right on his eyes. And it's really tricky when you're shooting with a traditional DSLR that doesn't have anything like eye detect focus. It's really tricky to get the focus just right. And when you're shooting at 200 millimeters f2.8, you got to nail that focus on the eye. And that's what I did here. I didn't really focus and recompose as much. I was using back button focus, but if you zoom into the full size photo on Flickr, you'll notice the depth of field is really shallow here. And it's great for portraits as long as you really lock in that eye. And that's what I was able to do. Beyond that, I also I told him to turn his body just a little bit. So if you're wondering how to shoot portraits, that's another trick. It's hundreds of years old. There's nothing new about that, but just have your subject turn themselves just a little bit. And I had him tilt his head a little bit. Everything about this is intentional. But the most important thing that I want to emphasize for portrait shooters is just to have fun. You see his big old smile here. That's genuine because we were laughing, we were joking, we were telling stories, and I was taking pictures the whole time. It doesn't matter what you do for the technical aspects of a photo. If you're not having a good time, if your subject's not having a good time, the photos won't look good as a result.